are. Great timing. Come inside. Promotions for Camelia Golden Week are getting into full swing and the streets are packed. I was worried you'd be wandering around outside for ages. Come take a seat anywhere. Make yourself at home.
You're too kind, Nicole.
Oh, come on. We're such good pals, you and me. Who's keeping track? Ahem. I almost forgot about you. Good. Now that you're both here, let me tell you about the commission.
Ah, you do remember you're here for our help. I about thought this was turning into the Cunning Hare's office.
You two love to joke around. I'm a regular here, so I'm just showing I care.
A regular whenever you need help, then a stranger when it's time to pay. Even when you rent videos from us, you keep using the free trial vouchers. It's been 10 times already?
Okay, let's not make a big deal out of it. Check this out. This is the target of your next commission.
It's a supply box?
Yep, 4 words. Can you open it?
Another box. Can you open it, Fairy?
Negative. The lock used in this security device is not a smart console. I'm unable to access it. Note, this is not due to a lack of ability, but rather the obsolete and outdated architecture of the device. Again, this is not because I cannot. It is the box's fault.
Nobody's blaming you, Fairy. I never thought you'd have such an ego.
I think you need a locksmith, not a proxy.
This isn't any old box. A few days ago, a small sub-hollow called C41 was suppressed, with the Hollow Investigative Association designating it officially in decline. It'll gradually shrink for 2 weeks before completely vanishing. Normally, even sub-hollows that are in decline are guarded carefully by public security, since they're still dangerous. But it just so happens to be Camelia Golden Week. Most public security forces are out on the streets keeping the peace. So there's a gap in sub-hollow C41 security. Some other raiders got in and found a huge, well-preserved warehouse in C41. The walls were coated in a special corruption-resistant alloy, and there were stacks of supply boxes inside. I heard some pretty incredible weapons were found inside some of them. So now, among Hollow Raiders, rumor is C41 is full of high-value supply boxes. Maybe there'll be some intel posted to Internet soon.
So, this supply box was found inside C41?
Sure is. The Cunning Hares can smell a deal a mile away. If C41 is a gold mine, as they say, then I, Nicole, cannot let such an opportunity go. So let's team up, Faithin. Besides, I heard you're getting ready for a Camelia Golden Week vacation. Tell me this, what do you need for any good vacation?
How about time?
No, not that. Denny's. If you don't have any time, you can't take a vacation at all. Denny's are what make a vacation good. I'll go find a locksmith who can open this box. You go check out C41 and bring back some more of those supply boxes for yourself. And you'll see, I wasn't kidding around. Well then, how about we turn this Golden Week vacation into a real Golden Week, huh?
Is this my tip?
I will keep these safe for you.
Ellen, switch out. Keep off.
Take this. Get back.
My turn now!
Okay.
Take a break. Yep. Quickly.
Round and around and stop!
Thanks for your business. Get lost.
Back from exploring? So how'd it go? I wasn't lying, right?
There were indeed supply boxes down there. Your intel was accurate.
Haha! Now that you approve, this year's Golden Week is definitely gonna be a great one. One more thing. Speaking of the association, someone over there gave me some insider intel about Hollow C41. You must have noticed when you went there yourself. That warehouse, preserved in such good condition as it is? Well, it likely belongs to Midsummer Incorporated.
Midsummer. A fitting name for the season. Are they a tourism company?
What? You've really never heard of Midsummer Incorporated? They were a major weapons manufacturer. They even challenged Three Gates military tech for the lion's share of the market. But the fall of the old capital hit them real bad, and soon they disappeared from the industry. But just before that happened, they held a press conference announcing a mysterious treasure to boost their struggling performance. If that warehouse really belongs to Midsummer Incorporated, then it all lines up. The piles of supply boxes, the high-value contents, and also the defensive weapons we ran into. So that's that. Our shared goal is settled. Find Midsummer Incorporated's mysterious treasure. The Cunning Hares will gather more info about the warehouse while you keep exploring Hollow C41. Bring us back those supply boxes so we can unlock them. As part of the deal, you can have anything useful you find inside. Consider it your vacation fund. But don't throw away the other stuff you can't use. There might be some merchants interested in it. It's Camelia Golden Week after all. Lots of businesses will be buying and selling all sorts of stuff.
So, anything we find may be worth selling. Got it.
Make a big holiday shopping list, Faithin. Soon, we'll be swimming in Denny's.
My allowance? You take it. I can't be bothered.
Are they heavy? I'll help.
I will keep these safe for you.
What's this?
It is an attendant's responsibility.
Out of the way.
To no one's surprise, the most frequently discussed game series on this channel is Silent Hill. Out of the 450 videos I've done on this channel, I've done over 40 on that series. Naturally, I've had viewers ask me why I have a disproportionate fascination and attachment to this series compared to all others. And while there are innumerable reasons, I suppose the biggest and most relevant reason is that it helps me contend with trauma from my own life. See, I murdered my wife, and no, I'm kidding. To no one's surprise, the most frequently discussed game series on this channel is Silent Hill. Out of the 450 videos I've done on this channel, I've done over 40 on that series. Naturally, I've had viewers ask me why I have a disproportionate fascination and attachment to this series compared to all others. And while there are innumerable reasons, I suppose the biggest and most relevant reason is that it helps me contend with trauma from my own life. See, I murdered my wife, and no, I'm kidding. Just trying to introduce some levity to a serious topic. The developers of Silent Hill saturated the games with numerous references to both psychological and spiritual traditions, specifically the psychoanalytic theories of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, which were then often applied to hermetic traditions like alchemy and the occult. I found that by investigating the concepts that Silent Hill was referencing and identifying similarities with my psychological struggles, I was able to derive greater clarity and sustenance than I did from other forms of medical intervention. Now, as magnificent and helpful as those games were in symbolizing psychological processes and how to overcome them, there is one thing I wish it did better with its depictions of trauma. I think they could have simulated trauma better. See, games have an infinite amount of potential, more than any other medium, to demonstrate how impossible it can seem to overcome the darkness of the past. And while Silent Hill did it well in terms of story and symbolism, I believe that there was more to be desired in terms of gameplay. Granted, there have been some games that have done amazing progressive work in this regard, like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice and Amori, where gameplay plays a more important role in fostering empathy within the gamer. Nonetheless, they still lacked the equilibrium I was looking for, where gameplay and story both play an equally important role in making the gamer understand the Sisyphean struggle that trauma often poses. But then, a few months ago, I came across a game called Lisa the Painful. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, where all women have mysteriously ceased to exist, Lisa the Painful follows a character named Brad, a man who not only must contend with the existential implications of humanity's inevitable extinction, but also with the abuse he suffered from his father during his childhood. From that brief synopsis, a gamer that knows nothing about Lisa the Painful might question how such a bleak and uncomfortable premise could be enjoyed as a game. The fact of the matter is, though, that Lisa
It
the
is an
Painful
attendance
manages to
responsibility.
somehow not only be a massively entertaining and surprisingly innovative RPG, despite the bleakness, it also has one of the best senses of humor that I've ever seen in a game. One that never comes across as disrespectful, nor takes away from the seriousness of the theme. This balancing act of hilarity and despair, along with consistently entertaining gameplay, would have been impressive on its own. But yet, it manages to do all of this without ever losing sight of its most important function, which, as I said before, was the simulation of trauma, done equally through gameplay and story. The fact that Lisa the Painful managed this, despite the delicacy of the subject matter, and of course the fact that the game was made by one person in the RPG Maker engine, makes the game one of the most impressive works I've ever seen from the medium. And today, I'm going to analyze why. Needless to say, there are spoilers ahead.
Avoid it.
First, I need to acknowledge for those who are unaware that Lisa the Painful is the second part of a three-part series.
Take this.
Or rather, the second part of a multi-part series of which only 3 games are technically official. The other 2 official games are Lisa the First and Lisa the Joyful. I decided to focus strictly on Lisa the Painful because that's where the vast majority of the content is. After all, Lisa the First is basically a 1-hour prequel, and Lisa the Joyful serves as kind of an extended epilogue, kind of like the John Marston section of Red Dead Redemption 2. That said, there is one piece of basic information in Lisa the First that must be pointed out. It introduces us to the aforementioned Brad's sister, the titular Lisa. Like Brad, she also suffered unconscionable abuse from their father, which is illustrated symbolically through the game's art direction and puzzles. Unfortunately, unlike Brad, she ultimately could not live
The art.
with the pain and the shame. It is the tragedy of Lisa's untimely demise that sets the stage for Lisa the Painful. Despite knowing what happened to her, I was tricked by the pleasant, breezy music over the opening credits. I suppose that because I started Lisa the Painful right after Lisa the First, I was willing to enthusiastically embrace anything remotely pleasant. But just as I started to feel relaxed, I hear the sounds of punches being thrown and flashes of blood red light up the screen. A young boy and his friends were collectively beat up by local bullies, a fate they suffered because the fallen boy, who is Brad but at a younger age, stole their ball. Brad slowly gets up and walks home, but instead of being met with a concerned parent attending to his wounds, Brad's father, Marty, throws a bottle at him. He then yells, "I'm not buying you another shirt." Brad retires to his room and begins to bawl his eyes out, as the game's title slowly comes up on screen. The game then jumps forward a few decades into the literal post-apocalypse. A mysterious event known as the Flash wiped out every female human on Earth, leaving only the males to fend for themselves. We see Brad, now a middle-aged man, still plagued by the demons of his past, while also trying to contend with life following the end of the world. He addresses his pain, mostly, through his use of a drug called Joy. A drug that, according to its official description, makes you feel nothing. A few seconds after Brad pops a pill, he hears a sound that should be impossible, that of a baby's cries. Upon investigation, he discovers that the baby is not only real, but a female baby. Instead of questioning where this literal miracle came from, Brad decides to take the baby home and raise her in a safe environment. That way, she wouldn't risk suffering the inevitable fate that would befall the only female left in the world. Best of all for Brad, he now has a newfound meaning to sustain him in the apocalypse. This little girl that he decides to name Buddy. The first 5 minutes of the game set up the cyclical pattern that trauma follows. We are in a stable, contented mindset, only for that to be quickly ripped away by something unexpected and awful. be it something horrible happening in the present or a traumatic memory. Then, we try to find someone or something precious that we will do anything to hold on to, that helps us contend with that trauma. This is more or less how the endless battle against trauma goes, and it is a pattern that Lisa the Painful uses as the predicate for both its story and its gameplay. That cycle is kicked off when Brad discovers one day that Buddy had been supposedly kidnapped. From that point, it is up to Brad and the player to trudge through the wasteland, while finding precious resources and reliable companions to sustain them on the quest to find Buddy, the one thing that can keep Brad going in the apocalypse. But be wary, the items you find and the friends you adopt will often be taken from you.